So when you think of the Hulk, what's the first word that pops into your head? It's probably smash, right? Yeah, for over 60 years, the Green Goliath has pretty much been the poster child for raw, unstoppable power. But what if I told you that the raging monster we all know is just one tiny piece of a much deeper, much more fractured, and honestly, a way more fascinating puzzle?
All right, let's get right into it. We all know this look, the Jade Giant, a total force of nature. But the real story here isn't just about the monster, it's about the man, Bruce Banner, and, believe it or not, the whole crowd of different personalities locked away inside his mind. Now, before we get into the really deep stuff, let's start with what made him a legend in the first place. The Hulk is, and there's no arguing this, an absolute powerhouse. He was a founding member of the Avengers, even if, his time on the team was, let's just say it was complicated. He's the guy everyone else is measured against when it comes to pure brute strength.
And his impact, it goes way beyond the comic book pages. From old-school TV shows to massive blockbuster movies, the Hulk is a name everybody on the planet recognizes. He taps into this really simple, kind of primal fantasy, doesn't he? What if, when you got angry, you just became invincible? But see, that invincibility, it comes at a really terrible price. Because to really get the Hulk, you have to understand the tragedy of Dr. Bruce Banner first. This isn't just a monster story, it's a story about a war that's constantly raging inside of a single person. Let's rewind all the way back to the beginning, 1962. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby weren't just pulling a monster out of thin air. They were looking at classic stories like Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. They were creating a modern tragedy. You have this brilliant scientist, Bruce Banner, who makes this incredibly heroic sacrifice and gets cursed by the very power he was trying to harness, gamma radiation. And from that day on, his own anger becomes the trigger. And this right here, this is the core of the whole struggle. On one side, you've got Banner. He's all brain, a total genius, but he's also frail and keeps to himself. And on the other side, the Hulk, all muscle, pure instinct, pure rage, with power that just keeps going. They are polar opposites, trapped in the same body, and believe me, they can't stand each other for it.
So here's the twist. What if it's not just two sides of a coin? What if it's more like a shattered mirror with a dozen different reflections? This is where the story gets incredibly deep. We're not just talking about one man and one monster anymore. We're talking about one man with a lot of monsters inside. This is the moment that changed everything for the character. In this absolutely groundbreaking comic run, the writer Peter David completely reframed Banner's condition as dissociative identity disorder, or DID. The big idea was that trauma from his abusive childhood had already fractured his mind long ago. The gamma bomb didn't create the Hulk, it just kicked the door wide open for all of his other hidden personalities to come storming out.
And this opens up a whole universe of different Hulks. The classic savage Hulk we all picture, that's basically Banner as a terrified, angry kid. But then you've got Joe Fixit, a slick, gray-skinned gangster who runs things in Las Vegas. And the Professor Hulk, who's got Banner's genius mind inside that super powerful body. And then there's the Devil Hulk, this creepy, cunning father figure who says he's Banner's true protector. Every single one is a different piece of Bruce's broken mind.
Okay, so with all these different personalities fighting for the driver's seat, what's fueling the whole thing? What gives the Hulk this unbelievable level of power? Well, it all comes back to one simple, raw emotion, rage.
It's the question every single fan has asked at some point. I mean, is there a limit? Can anyone actually beat him with just pure force? And the answer is, well, it's both incredibly simple and terrifyingly complex.
This one line, this one phrase, it says everything you need to know. See, unlike pretty much any other hero out there, the Hulk doesn't have an upper limit. His strength is tied directly to his anger, so as long as you can make him angrier, he can get stronger. Which means, theoretically, his potential strength is infinite. Just think about that. And when you look at the official Marvel power ratings, it's right there in black and white. His strength and his durability are literally maxed out, a 7 out of 7. That's as high as the scale goes. Now, his fighting skill can vary a bit depending on which Hulk is in charge, but his raw power? It's in a league of its own. And it's not just about punching things really, really hard. He has this insane healing factor. He can regenerate from almost any wound imaginable. He can leap for miles, literally crossing continents. He can survive in the vacuum of space. His body will even adapt on the fly, growing new tissues to let him breathe underwater. He's not just a bruiser, he is the ultimate survivor. So, why has this character stuck around for so long? Why are we still so completely fascinated by the story of a man who just can't get a handle on his own rage? Well, for starters, his origin is a perfect snapshot of the time he was created. He's a product of the atomic age, a walking, talking symbol of that fear that our own science could create these monsters that we would have absolutely no way to control. But his appeal is so much more timeless than that. He's our modern Frankenstein's monster, hunted and feared for what he is, not for what he actually does. He's the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde story, that battle between the person we show the world and the beast we keep locked inside. And in a weird way, he's the ultimate underdog. For all that power, all the Hulk ever really wants is to just be left alone, and that's the one thing he can never have. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? The story of the Hulk really forces us to ask a question about ourselves. When we look at him, are we just seeing a monster that needs to be stopped? Or are we seeing a part of ourselves, that rage that we all feel, just unleashed with no limits? The answer, just like the Hulk himself, is way more complicated than it looks.